Okay, this is the review on Forever War, right? By someone. Forever War, it's a big one. I guess I can quickly look it up. I'll put it on here and I'll bring it up one of these seconds. Oh, Haldeman maybe? Forever War. Joe Haldeman? Something like that. Joe Haldeman, yeah, sweet. Joe Haldeman. It is May 14th. Forever War. This, I picked it up because it was considered like a classic, not only in sci-fi and on a lot of people's top 10 sci-fi lists, but it's also apparently like one of the best military sci-fi books. And in that regard, I feel like it fell flat in almost every sense for me. I had to hype so much, so if I came into it probably out of nowhere, I think I'd appreciate it more. But as it was, I thought the story was interesting and unique, certainly from what I've seen. It's not like I'm crazy read on sci-fi or on military sci-fi, to where I've seen like the echoes of this book throughout other books. It's not really that. It's that the story itself felt like it was going so fast, I couldn't grasp onto. There are many sections and they go over years and years and years, centuries in real time, but let's say for his life, a couple years. And he was never in one place long enough for me to care about it. The character himself wasn't very interesting, and not only were the centuries flying by, and every time he came back from deployment and stuck his toe back into the rest of humanity, they were alien to him, and they kept getting more and more alien. But he was also alien to me when he originally was in the picture, for many different reasons. A lot of it being I wouldn't say hedonistic. It was probably the hedonism that him and his compatriots had from the beginning, was morally shocking to me. And I don't clutch my pearls at things, and this wasn't so bad, or that I was like, oh my God, I wouldn't even want to read about this. No, I wouldn't want to, but I mean, it happens, and that's, the author's choice. But it just alienated me from him and the rest of the characters, to where there's that big degree of separation to where I couldn't hold on to them emotionally for me to care very much. None of the characters, there were a lot of deaths, and it didn't matter very much to me if they lived or died. That included the main character, that included the main love, Potter, I think was her name, Mary Gay, and I didn't care really about that. They kept leaving and then coming back in, leaving, coming back in, and I was never devastated by it because I didn't care enough about the characters to be devastated by it. It was just like, okay, now this is happening, now this is happening, now this is happening. Their time back on Earth, when they came back, was interesting in them finding out things were very different, and the description of how the world was different. And I felt like that might have been the most interesting part of the book, was that initial trip back. The action didn't really interest me too much. The enemy didn't interest me. The moral questions that were being raised, I've seen raised other places, I guess. Maybe I'm spoiled by anti-war movies, to where none of this was crazy revelatory to me. Yeah, I love action, I love sci-fi, I even love anti-war things, right? It's my cup of tea. And this felt light on all of it. And it was not the heavy hitter that, I came into it thinking it was going to be, because that's what I was led to believe. I think I hear that Starship Troopers, this book was let's say, this was a response to Starship Troopers, in which Starship was much more pro-war, I don't know. and pro-military. And I'm not saying I want to go into that and like and love it because of that. But I see that to have a complete picture, I should read that, and then maybe later the Old Man's War, which was a response to both of them, which is by John Scalzi, one of them. So I guess that's in my future, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this book. I would give it, for the ideas and the unique ideas and how you really feel the time dilation. That was good. The ending, I'm glad he got to be with his lady at the end, but you know, the ending was just, like, the whole book was depressing because everything was different. Nothing ended up mattering. You know, it just I didn't feel satisfied by this book whatsoever in any like facet. The writing wasn't what I wanted. The themes were okay, but I felt like they could have been delivered better. And I think it was the mechanism in which they were delivered, which was the story, which, whatever. Again, I've spoken enough about it. Yeah. I give this book a 7.7. 7.7, yeah. Disappointing, and yeah, disappointing, and I wish it was better, and maybe I'll find better books in this genre further down the road. Yeah. All right. On to the next book.